the problem was that by be a subspace of vector space X, the coset of an element X belongs to capital X with respect to capital Y is denoted by X plus Y, and in fact, X plus Y with the collection of those points V, which can be written as X plus Y, where Y is an element of this. So, what is the idea is that if you take a element X from capital X, which is a vector space, and Y be a subspace of this vector space, then find out the combination of this element X with every element of Y, okay, linear combination, and this correction will form a set. Now, this not only forms a set, it is also a vector space. So, we define suitably the operation addition, and the addition and scalar multiplication is defined like this. Okay, if you take the 2 point like W plus Y and X plus Y, then the addition is defined as W plus X plus Y. So, this will be an element of capital X, because capital X is a vector space and it is closed with respect to addition and scalar. So, again it is of the form x 1 plus y, that is a point of this class. Then alpha x plus y, this will be alpha x plus y, again this will be a point in capital X. So, it is a point of x plus y. So, it is closed with respect to addition and scalar multiplication, hence it forms a vector space. So, that is why it is easy to verify the conditions of all vector spaces. Now, this particular vector space,
is it possible to get
such a
equation? Is it possible to get
which equation?
W plus W plus y plus x plus y equal to W plus x plus
It is possible. Why? Suppose you take the W plus y and x plus y. What is the W plus y? The W plus y, this will be the point W plus small y of this type and x plus small y. So, you are taking W plus x and y 1 plus y 2, but y 1 plus y 2 kya? It will be a point of y. So, it will be belongs to y. Clear? By expression is the first element should be the point in x and rest of the elements are combination with the elements of y. So, basically this will be W plus y 1, this is x plus y 1 by 2. So, we get W plus x plus y 1 plus y 2 becomes another third element, which is an element of y. So, we can get it. Now, this space particularly is called the quotient space. This space we call it as a quotient space. Okay, quotient. This x plus y, this vector space and all factor space, which you are talking about, na? Some authors say factor spaces also. Okay, a quotient space and denoted by x oblique y, x oblique y. Okay. So, whenever the x oblique y means it represents the quotient space, x is a vector space and y is a subspace of this. Now, with the help of this we have got the new space which is called the quotient space.
Is it factor space or factor space?
Factor, F-A-C-T-O-R.
I was asking about factor space.
Okay, so that will be take okay. Factor space. Clear? Now, this space forms a vector space. Now, we wanted this space to be a norm space. So, we have to modify our example accordingly. Now, what we did, let us suppose y is a closed subspace of the norm space X. Okay? Y is a closed subspace of norm space X. Then, for any point x plus y in the space, then for x plus y in the quotient space of belongs to capital X over y or in the quotient space x over y, let us introduce this operation as infimum of norm of x plus y, norm of x plus y, where y is a point of y. Okay. by this is our X is a norm space, by is a closed subspace of norm space. Now, X is a point in capital X, by is a point in capital Y. So, but it is a subspace. So, it will be a point of capital X again. So, norm of X plus Y will be well defined, because X plus Y will be a point of X and the norm is introduced as the norm of X. So, this is a well defined thing, and infimum is taken over all such by belonging to capital X is fixed infimum. Now, what we claim is that this forms, we claim that this gives a norm on X over Y. This is our claim. It means all the conditions of the norm space must be satisfied, is it not? I have used the triple notation because this norm I am using here. So, that is why in order to avoid the confusion I am using this thing. Okay. Now, how does it form the norm? The first thing is, obviously this is greater than or equal to 0, clear, because number 1, this is greater than or equal to 0, because the definition says that the norm infimum is taken over this values, is it not, all the values. Norm is a real non negative quantity. So, it is greater than or equal to 0. So, infimum may be at the most 0, it cannot be less than 0, cannot be negative. So, it is greater than or equal to 0. Okay. Second part, if it is 0, if it is 0, then what we want to show, x plus y must be 0. Okay. Now, what does it mean by this? It implies by definition infimum of norm x plus y, where the y belongs to capital Y is 0. Okay. The infimum is taken over by, it means there must be a sequence of the points in Y by 1 by 2 by n, which is combining with x and the norm value is tending to 0, then only infimum. So, there exists a sequence y n in Y such that norm this x plus y n such that x plus y n, this must go to 0 as n tends to infinity, is it not? It means that is y n x tends to minus x, or you can say y n tends to minus x. Is it okay or not? Achha. Now, by 1 by 2 by n, these are the points in Y. Y is closed, since Y is closed and by n, these are the points in Y. So, limiting value of by n must be a point in Y, because it is closed. So, limiting value of y is nothing but minus x, therefore, minus x belongs to capital Y. Is it okay? When minus x belongs to y, then it means minus x plus y must be 0. For some sequence it will be 0, is it not? So, this implies x plus capital Y is 0. You follow me? Okay? Clear? Conversely, if we take it this side, if x plus y is 0, okay, then automatically this thing will be 0, because what is the infimum? X plus y is what? Collection of all these sets. What is the x plus y? Collection of all this set, is it not? So, it means we this point norm will be 0. Okay? So, there is nothing to prove obviously. Obvious. Okay. So, one second condition is, this is the second condition. Third condition, or let it be, the norm of x plus y is less than norm of x 1 plus x 2 is less than equal to norm x 1 plus norm of x 2. So, let us take, let x 1 and x 2, x 1 and x 2 v in x. Let us take the 2 point x 1 and x 2 in x and epsilon r greater than 0. Then find y 1 and y 2 in capital Y such that norm of x 1 plus y 1, which is less than equal to, or is strictly less than infimum of norm of x 1 plus y belongs to capital Y plus epsilon y 2, and norm of x 2 plus y 2 is strictly less than infimum of norm of x 2 plus y belongs to capital Y plus epsilon y 2. Let me see why. What I am doing is, I wanted to show the x 1 plus capital Y, x 1 plus x 2 capital Y under the condition is less than equal to x 1 plus y plus x 2 plus y. So, for that purpose I have taken x 1 and x 2 are the 2 point in x. Clear? Now, x 1 is in x. So, we can find out this infimum, and infimum is nothing but what? This is equal to x 1 plus capital Y, is it not, and plus epsilon by 2. So, if I remove the epsilon, this infimum, then this quantity will be always be more than this, but for certain sequence it will be less than this plus epsilon by 2. So, that is why I have written x 1 plus y 1 is less than this number plus epsilon by 2. Agreed? Similarly, this quantity is less than this number plus epsilon by 2. Agreed? Okay. Now, consider norm of x 1 plus y 1, x 2 plus y 2. Okay. Now, this will be equal to less than equal to norm of x 1 plus y 1 plus norm of x 2 plus y 2, but by this one x 1 plus y 1 is less than this number, x 2 plus y 2 is less than. So, we can write this is less than equal to tuple of this x 1 plus y plus tuple of this plus epsilon. Okay. And left hand side what you can write is, you can write it this x 1 plus x 2 y 1 plus y 2, can you say this is another element y 3 belonging to capital Y. Okay. Is it okay? Na? Where the y 3 belongs to capital Y. Now, take the infimum over all y 3s. Okay. So, take the infimum. So, infimum over all such y belonging to this. So, when you take the infimum of this, it is less than equal to this number, because right hand side is free from any this is norm is a real number, this is real number, it is free from any y. So, infimum of this will it not be the same as the norm of not this is double norm, because once you take infimum then now it will come triple norm x 1 x plus x 2 plus capital Y. This infimum value is denoted by this. Okay? Infimum of this thing is less than equal to x 1 plus capital Y plus x 2 plus capital Y plus epsilon. But epsilon is arbitrarily small. So, let epsilon is tending to 0, arbitrarily small, we get this condition that norm this mode of this triple under x 1 plus x 2 y is less than equal to triple x 1 plus y plus triple x 2 plus y. So, condition that second condition of the norm is also satisfied. Okay. Now, next condition I think third or fourth maybe norm of alpha x. So, consider this alpha x, alpha of x plus y, consider this thing, okay, where this is equal to infimum of norm of alpha x plus y. By definition y belongs to capital Y. By definition, because when it multiply alpha x is equal to getting alpha x plus y. Now, take alpha outside. So, when you take alpha outside, because of the norm mod alpha will come. Okay. So, you are getting this thing is mod alpha infimum of norm x plus y over alpha, and then y belongs to capital Y. Okay. But y is a point in capital Y, alpha is a constant. So, y is a subspace. So, this will be again a point in y. So, infimum of taken means it is the same as infimum of norm of x plus say y 1, okay, where the y 1 belongs to capital Y, and which is the same as triple of x plus capital Y. Okay. So, all these conditions of the norms are satisfied. Therefore, this space x by y under this is a norm space. Okay. A typical examples where it is not a routine one, it is not a routine example, it is different, but it requires that. Okay. Is it clear? Any doubt, please say. Okay. Now, next part the same thing, same question, we put it another part C. The part is a sequence again of proof that a sequence x n plus y converges to x plus y in the quotient space x over y if and only if there is a sequence y n in capital Y such that x n plus y n, this sequence converges to x in capital X. Okay. So, this result shows how a sequence in this quotient space converges to a point. Because normally when we say the x n converges to x, the difference between x n minus x goes to 0 under the norm. Now, here is something because this space x n plus y is a point, x n plus y is a point. So, what is said, if you take a sequence x n plus y, means take the point x 1 from x, find out the all the combination, x 2 another combination like this. So, we are taking x n plus y as a sequence. Now, this sequence will converge to a point x. Okay. If and only if this sequence by n, there is a sequence by n where the x n plus y n will go to x in this. Okay. So, that is combination. Let us see the proof. Okay. So, suppose this is given, suppose there is a sequence by n in by such that x n plus y n goes to x in capital X, converges to x in capital X. Okay. Suppose this is given, clear. Then what we want to show, that this converges to this in the norm of x over y. So, consider triple 1 x n plus y minus x plus y. Now, if this goes to 0, that means this will go to this and n tends to infinity under this norm. Okay. Now, this can be written as x n minus x plus y, is it not clear? Subtracting this. Now, is it not less than equal to norm of x n minus x plus by n for every n? Do you agree with this? Why? Because the definition of this says, remember the definition of this is the definition, x plus y is infimum of this. So, if I remove infimum, all the values will be greater than equal to this. So, that is why we are getting there, and this is true for each n. So, there will be a sequence by n by n. Now, it is given that x n plus y n goes to x in the, this is the norm of x, and x n plus y n goes to x as n tends to infinity. So, basically the right hand side tends to 0. So, this part tends to 0, it is given, is it not? We have assumed this, no? Suppose there is a sequence by n such that this comes. So, this is assumed, this is given. Therefore, can you not say that this thing x n plus y, this sequence converges to x plus y in the norm of this? Proved. Okay. Now, let us see the converse part. Given that this sequence converges to this in the norm of this. So, given x n plus y converges to x plus y under this norm, we are required to show that there will be a sequence by n such that x n plus y n goes to x in the norm of x. Okay. So, let us see. Okay. So, consider norm of x n plus capital Y minus x of capital Y, this one. Now, this is by definition infimum of norm of x n minus x plus y, where the y belongs to capital Y. This is just by definition, is it not? Okay. Now, if I choose the by n suitably here, then this entire thing can be made less than this plus some number epsilon. So, pick up the by n, choose by n belongs to capital Y such that this number y n will be less than, strictly less than this one, infimum of this or this value plus 1 by n, where 1 by n is a epsilon number. Okay? Clear? Now, as n tends to infinity, what happens? This goes to 0, this is already given, this converges to x, it means right hand side will go to 0. So, x n plus y n will go to x under the norm of this. So, we get x n plus y n goes to x in the norm of x, that is all, and that is proof. Okay? Clear? So, we get this. So, this was the example which I wanted to show. Now, another example is of course, this I don't remember whether I have done it or not. If x be a norm space, it has the two operation, addition, scalar multiplication and also an structure norm. The addition and scalar multiplication are jointly continuous in the norm space, whether it was done or not. No. Okay. So that x n converges to x in the norm space x, y n converges to y in the norm space of x, implies the x n plus y n will converge to x plus y in the norm of x, and if alpha n converges to alpha and x n converges to x in the norm of x, then alpha n x n will converge to alpha x in the norm of x. That is, a vector addition in the norm space is continuous, scalar multiplication is also continuous function. So, vector addition and scalar multiplication, that is vector addition and scalar multiplication are continuous functions, are continuous operations with respect to the norm. Operations with respect to the norm. Clear? And I think the proof is very easy, a solution. We wanted, this is given, x n converges to x, y n converges to y. So, we wanted this one. So, consider this norm of x n y n minus x plus y. Apply the triangular inequality. So, we get okay, and then this goes to 0, this goes to 0 as n tends to infinity. So, obviously, this will go to 0. Satisfied? Then second, consider alpha n x n minus alpha x. Now, you are add and subtract minus alpha x n, then plus alpha x n minus x. Okay. Now, apply the triangular. So, what you are getting is mod alpha n minus alpha, norm of x n plus mod alpha norm of x n minus x. Okay. Now, alpha n goes to alpha. So, this will go to 0, this will go to 0, but x n is a sequence, convergent sequence. So, it is bounded sequence. So, this will be a bounded sequence. Therefore, norm will be a finite, some value less than equal to m. So, entire thing will go to 0, hence we say this tends to 0. So, alpha n x n will go to alpha of x, okay, in the norm of x. So, that is very simple, yeah, it is simple. Product of the two norms. If the two norms are there, one can also define the norm on the product of the norm space. So, this product of norm space if x 1 x 2 x 1 norm 1 x 2 norm 2, these are the two norm spaces then the product vector space x, which is x 1 cross x 2, means every element of this will be of the form ordered pair type x 1 comma x 2, where the x 1 belongs to capital X 1 and x 2 belongs to capital X 2, cross product of the x 1 x 2. Product of this becomes a norm space if we define norm of x as the maximum of norm of x 1 comma norm of x 2, where x is this, okay. X is this element, this is our x. I think this obvious, it is very easy, is it not? Why? Because x 1 and these are already giving to the norm. So, it satisfy all the condition of norm, this also satisfy all the condition norm, and maximum will be one of them, either this will be maximum or that will be maximum. So, all the condition of the norm will be satisfied. So, basically there nothing to so much, okay. One can do it. I think it is clear.
Sir, x is generated from means one point of x 1 and product of the other point of x 2. Means one point of x 1 I am taking all the points of x 2.
No, what you are saying is product, na?
Sir,
Yes, product is x 1 cross x 2, x 1 cross x 2, na? So, x 1 cross x 2, what is this product is? Say x 1 is the collection of the points, x 2 is also collection of point. Pick up the element of x 1, say I am taking x 1 and let us combine all the elements of x 2, then pick up another one, combine all this. So, basically it is the combinations, a cross product, a combination, a set of ordered pair, it will be a set of ordered pair, where the first element must be the point of x 1, second element should be the point of x 2, is it not? So, that way it is. Now, we have shown one compactness, is it not? One compact set we have defined. That compact set, if you remember, a metric space X is a metric space, M be a subset of this, M is said to be compact, or in general a compact set is defined if every sequence has a convergent subsequence or every open couple has a finite subcover, is it not? Compact. Finite subcover. Now, suppose set is compact, I say this is a compact set. What do you mean by this? It means if I draw the balls around each point of this, there are infinitely many balls will be there which can cover this, is it not? But why do you require this infinite number ball? If only finite number ball are sufficient to cover it, then we say it is a compact set. So, that ball if it chooses in the form of the open covers, then we say if every open cover has a finite subcover, then we say the space is compact, the set all space is compact. Similarly, open cover we mean a collection of the open sets which is closed under union and all these conditions. So, that will be the means collection of the open cover whose unions is also is an open, okay. That if it is responsible to close every point of this or includes all the points union cover, then we say it is a open cover. Means if we pick up any point of the set, it must be the point in one of the collection of that open sets, clear. Then we say it is an open cover folder. If there are infinitely many, if you take any open coverlet and out of this if we have the finite cover which is also suitable to cover the entire set, then we say the set is compact. Okay. Equivalently, we can say a sequence, if a sequence has a convergent subsequence, then we say it is a compact set. Every sequence has a convergent subsequence, then also it is a compact, is it not? So, this compactness can be defined. Now, if we take the real line R is not a compact. Why? R is not compact. Why it is not compact? Because this is our entire real line minus infinity to infinity. They are the points. What are the open cover? Is an open intervals. How many open intervals? Infinite number of open intervals is required, but can you find out of infinite number of open interval only finite number of open intervals which are responsible to cover it. Okay. So, such a is not compact, okay, but it is a locally compact. Locally compact. Locally compact means that a set is said to be locally compact if around each point one can find out a neighborhood which is compact. So, real line is a locally compact. Take any point, you can find an open interval, then it is closed compact. Why? Because one can get it like this, is it not? Close and bound, because boundary is now fixed, these points are fixed now, but in case of the real line it is not at all fixed. So, that is why it is a locally compact, not a compact. Okay. So, I am not going to give that one. This is a very interesting example here is, if X is a compact, if X is a compact metric space and M is a subset of X is closed, then so that M is compact. Okay. As a convergent subsequence. Okay. Now, how to show this? X is a compact metric space. It means this has a property that every sequence has a convergent subsequence, means limit point belongs to it. Okay. We wanted to show M to be compact, where M is given to be a closed set, clear. So, this is our X, here is M. This we wanted to show compact. So, we should choose a sequence in M. So, let X M n or X n be a sequence in capital M. Okay. This is a sequence in capital N. So, obviously, this X n will be a point of X also, okay, but X is compact. So, every sequence will have a convergent subsequence. So, we get, since X is compact, so the sequence X n will have a convergent subsequence, say x and k, okay, which converges to the point say x. Is it clear now? Okay. So, you are choosing the sequence x1, x2 and so on, a sequence in M. It has a convergent subsequence say x1, x5 and so on. The limiting value is x. Now, this x may be a point of x or all a point of M, but obviously x belongs to closure of M, because all the sequence points are in M. So, x is the limiting value. So, it is the point of the closure of M, but M is closed, it is given. So, M closure is M, therefore, x will be a point of M. So, what you can get, what you are getting is, so we are taking a sequence x n in capital M which has a convergent subsequence x n k whose limit point x belongs to M. Therefore, M is compact. Okay. It is interesting. Now, let us take an example now on operator. We have discussed the linear operators. Okay. So, just one example, in fact, related to others problems will come from this example. The example is very simple. What is this example show? So that the operator, T from L infinity to L infinity defined by y is equal to eta j, which is T x, eta j is x I j by j, x is x I j belongs to L infinity, is linear and bounded. Okay, is bounded. So, if we look this problem, I think solution is simple. We want this operator to be linear and bounded. So, for the linear property, we have to write alpha x plus beta x 1 plus beta x 2, is it not? If I say this is alpha of T x 1 plus beta of T x 2, then T becomes linear, where T x is defined in this fashion by. Okay. So, suppose x 1 and x 2 are the 2 point, where x 1 is say x I j 1, x 2 is x I j 2. Suppose I am taking these two sequences in capital L to L infinity and linear combination under T. So, what will be this T of alpha x 1 plus beta x 2, what will be this point? T of alpha x I j 1 plus beta x I j 2, is it not? And when you take the image of this, then image will come out to be the alpha xij1 by j plus beta xij2 by j, this sequence, is it not? And that can be written as again, can you not take it alpha of this plus beta of this, which is equal to alpha of T x 1 plus beta of T x 2. You can break up this again, alpha this sequence plus beta this sequence, which is equal to. So, T is linear. Okay. Now, to show T is bounded, so to show T is bounded, what we have to show, because L infinity is a norm space. So, when T is an operator from L infinity to L infinity, and if you want to show it is a bounded, you have to prove that norm of T x should be less than equal to some constant times norm of x, is it not? So, let us take the norm of T x. What is this norm of T x? It is basically eta j, because T x is equal to y eta j, and norm of this, but norm is nothing but the infinity norm, because it is a point of L infinity. So, basically you are taking the supremum of eta j over j. Is it okay or not? But this will be equal to supremum of xij by j over j. Can you not say this is less than equal to supremum of mod xij over j?
So, this is
Yes,
supremum over,
xij by j,
is it mod?
mod, because scalar quantity, okay, j. So, it will be supremum, and since it is divided by j, so if I remove j, it is less than equal to this, okay, clear, 1. So, this is nothing but the norm of x. So, norm of T x is less than equal to norm of x. So, T is bounded. In fact, norm will be 1. In fact, the norm of T will be 1, because if I take greater than equal to this, okay, I can choose such a sequence where the norm becomes 1. Okay. So, it will be the norm will be 1. Take the xij to be 1 1 1, because norm of T is greater than equal to this norm. Supremum is taken over eta j, take this mod 1 by j supremum, xij to be 1 1 1. So, this is equal to 1. Okay. So, we can take. So, in fact, we get the norm T. So, this is the linear and bounded. Now, the interesting question comes here.
So, this one is not clear, supremum over 1 by j.
1 by j. Oh, what he is saying is norm of T. What is the norm of T? This is equal to supremum of norm T x over norm of x, is it not? I take x to be 1 1 1 1 1. Okay. So, what is this is norm is 1, and here it is what 1 by j mod. So, that supremum will be 1, okay, because 1 1 1 xij will be 1. So, 1 by j supremum is 1 only. So, you are taking this 1 and this is 1. So, you are getting, okay. The interesting question is, so that the inverse T inverse from range of T to x of a bounded linear operator T from x to y need not be bounded. Okay. Now, let me see what is this question. The question was, so that the operator T defined by this is linearly bounded. What this question says, so that the inverse operator T inverse of a bounded linear operator need not be bounded. It means there are the operators which are linear and bounded, but when you take the inverse of that inverse operator, if it exists, then it need not be it may not be a bounded operator, means continuity might have failed. Okay. So, we have to give a suitable example where the one side it is a bounded operator, directly it is bounded from x to y, but when you take the inverse side T inverse, then it is unbounded. Okay. And the example is nothing but the previous one. If I choose the same example here, the T from L infinity to L infinity, where the T x is defined as by j, by which is eta j of this form, then the inverse operator of this thing will be unbounded. Why? Choose previous example. Okay? Previous example, T is a mapping from L infinity to L infinity such that T x is equal to y, where y is equal to eta j and eta j equal to x I j by j. So, what will be the T inverse from L infinity from the range set to L infinity such that yes please. T inverse is a mapping from R T to range set of this, range set become domain now to L infinity such that T inverse y will be x. So, this will be equal to what? J times eta j. Okay? J times of eta j. Eta j is a point in this and this. Okay? Now, if I choose a sequence like this 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 at the jth place or nth place, and rest are 0. Suppose this is a x, okay, or by n, I can choose by n, that better by n. What is the norm of by n? Because it is the supremum of this thing and that will be equal to 1. Okay. What is the inverse image of by n? That is only n. Is it okay or not? So, norm of T inverse by n is nothing but the supremum of n over n, which is infinity. Okay. So, it cannot be less than or equal to norm of m times norm of by n. M is constant.
Whole operation due to the in our previous example j in denominator.
So, it is coming to be the numerator.
To overcome that, it has to go to the numerator. And when j increases, it is increasing.
Yes, is it not? So, in fact, this in the range, but corresponding image point is giving something there. Okay. So, that is why it is now. So, it is a good example, it is unbounded and is go. Similarly, there is also another example which I will say. Let T from C01 to C01 we define yt equal to integral 0 to t x tau d tau. Okay. Then the T inverse is linear but unbounded. So, this you do it. Okay. I will give a hint little bit. What is the inverse operation is the differentiation of bi. T inverse is the differentiation continuous derivative of bi. So, if you take bi equal to T n, the derivative differentiation is not a bounded operator, n will come. Okay. So, that is clear. So, this you do it. Thank you.